Oh, so years ago, I dealt with this individual in the BDSM community who was not so much of a fan that I'm a female dominant sadist and did not get the joke in reference to. So I was at a TNG meeting and the next generation, whatever. And this male who claimed to be a dominant had said, "Somebody say, 'Oh, daddy.'" And I was like, "Oh, daddy," because I'm a sadist. I'm dominant. And I thought it'd be funny because, I'm a little bit of a smart aleck. I tend to joke in odd ways. I don't deny that. So that guy was like, "Oh, I'm so dominant, 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 Tommy." I was like, no, not at all. Well, he threw a little bit of a temper tantrum. And so I just kind of, that's nice. That's, if you think that that makes you anything. Well, there have been a few events that he attended and I was at, and every time he had attempted to do certain things, it was one of those, no, that's not acceptable. And then he'd get mad because I would say, no, it's not acceptable. Now, granted, intellectually, quite a bit to talk about. Quite a bit. However, what is it called? The techie, like it's a flame war or something like that. And so that particular individual at an event, let me give a few sequences of events first. Unintended, I got a sequence belt. So that particular individual had thrown a little bit of a temper tantrum at a few different events beyond just that munch. And so the first was that. Then there was the only event that I had attended, or one of two, where he had a blow dart. And I had made a comment saying, because he kept putting it to his mouth with a dart in it. And I was just like, hey, don't you think it would be smart not to do that? You don't know what you're talking about, Lady Dori Belle, is what he told me. What if you were to accidentally, cough with that in your face and then send out a blow dart and get somebody wrongly that did not consent? And, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, sure, whatever. Also part of a scene is what they're called, where he was using a flogger and hitting a female, essentially smaller than me, and I'm only 5'4", somewhere between, depends on the day, 100 to 123 pounds, somewhere around there, and literally it depends on the day. And so I had made a mention, you should probably not hit her in the kidneys. And he asked that particular individual, HC Coyote or H Coyote, whatever, what do you know about that? And I was like, well, if you hit her in the kidneys, or anyone, there's a medical concern that they would have to go to the emergency room. And if they didn't go to the emergency room, and started having issues, then it's too late for certain circumstances. He didn't want to listen to me because, I was just me. And so that particular event, I spoke with the guy who ran the house, and I was like, hey, I know it's your place, but hey, here's this little tidbit, not to throw anybody under the bus, just here you go. That particular individual said he would talk with whatever. Okay, fine. So then later, there were a couple other events that I attended that he was at. And he would purposefully start conversations. I was like, okay, whatever, this, that, and the other. Well, one particular event in May, he was utilizing a whip on a female, and there was a guy who's like family to me nearby with his now wife, and like family to me, and I needed to get by. Well, he saw me multiple times, refused to stop slinging the whip. I was just like, okay. After about 10 minutes, I was like, hey, behind you. And he stopped. I just went past real quick. I didn't even want to have to do that, but he wouldn't stop, or at least move where I could walk past without any issue. And so he, as in H Coyote or HC Coyote, whatever it is, he threw a little temper tantrum, get off my lawn. It's like, it's not even your lawn. I mean, unless you all of a sudden own that house, but I don't think you owned that house. Whatever. So, as the little Fat Life went on, he had everybody in the entire community knew of my Palm Sunday 2000 head injury, knew of my coma, subarachnoid hemorrhage in the frontal lobe of the brain, the after effects of the headaches and migraines, cognitive, memory, blah, blah, blah. Going from college algebra with trigonometry and calculus to second grade math. Everybody knew about that. I also never hid it, not just in conversation and discussions, but also online. Well, that particular claimed male dominant said in the little that he was going to pat me on the head. Anybody with headaches and migraines knows you don't go anywhere near somebody's head when they have headaches or migraines. It doesn't take a head injury to figure that out. Well, he got all uppity, threw a little bit of a titty baby temper tantrum, and then recently, when I got back to the state of Texas, I found out that in that year, or a year, whatever, that male had apparently, at least I'm guesstimating, I don't know if for certain, that male had contacted the Austin Police Department to file a report that I had written a response as to what I would do exactly if he went to touch me on my head, because I deal with headaches and migraines. And realistically, it was a abbreviated version. No denying that it was an abbreviated version. And a nice version, very nice version in comparison, if I had to defend myself. Because essentially it was self-defense. After the multiple issues with that particular male, and from the very first meeting all the way through the there wasn't any way for me to view that, read that, whatever, without ever at any point in time looking at that as a attempted threat to me. And it was just one of those, no, I don't, with what I'm dealing with and with what's going on, I do not. Now, was the guy like really intelligent and like talk stuff? Yeah, sure, okay, cool. Decent looking at the time? Yeah, no doubt about it. Not a fan of the hair, but you know, personal preference. But continued no matter where I went. I mean, he was more over dramatic than a female. And it was just one of those, okay, just because you have long hair, it kind of look like a girl because you have long hair, in my opinion. I mean, I know that I look very masculine in comparison because of my short hair. But, and then my voice when it comes to smoking or vaping. But at least I'm not a whiny little. And so, if hypothetically that had been the case where he had contacted Austin Police Department about me and only showed them what I wrote but did not show them like the entirety, I don't know, I don't think it takes a head injury to figure out that, you know, police do detective work. And while some individuals may not have or may have, I don't know, if he had whatever, it was one of those. So you were big dumbly to attempt to try to make me like be anything other than myself. And he repeatedly would bring up, well, I got you to say daddy. And it's like, yeah, you don't understand my sense of humor, do you? Like, in the sadistic aspect, in certain ways, you could almost view that as if I, you know, if you start something and then certain exchanges, I don't know what's more sadistic, getting somebody to say something or making them think something that they know is incorrect and then make them have to figure out that what they know was incorrect was exactly what was done. And so if that particular individual continued to cause issues and drama needlessly, but in reference to the scene and the lifestyle, because Mr. Dumbly. I know, which is scarier? That guy going on and throwing a little whiny, cry, or like, pick a year of my life. Pick a year. There's an event there somewhere that I probably had dealt with something just teeny tiny bit scarier than words. So the moral of the story is, while words can be intimidating, there are sometimes certain situations that are far scarier.